My name is Jona Jeffcoat. I am the Director of Services and founder of Infinity Music Therapy Services. And I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about our intake procedures here at Infinity. Now, whether you're looking for music therapy, dance therapy, music lessons, whatever service it is at Infinity, we follow roughly the same intake procedure. So first and foremost, anybody who's interested in services is able to access a free consultation with myself or a member of our clinical team. The consults typically last between 30 and 45 minutes, and traditionally we do those virtually using either Zoom or one of our other programs called Doxy.me. We do offer them over the phone, and on occasion we do them in person as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see what our primary thing is that we are looking at during the consultation. So this is our pediatric parent guardian assessment. Now for this form, we have similar things for our adults and for our business-to-business contracts. And this is something that we do just as a general conversation, communication with you. It's not that we need to answer every single question on here, but it gives us a good snapshot of the individual or individuals that we may be working with. So the clinician running your consultation is typically going to ask you a bunch of questions in order to get information to fill out on this form. And that includes things like looking at our communication skills, social skill development, cognitive skills, motor skills, emotional skills. We're going to ask about self-injurious behavior and aggression. Now, families tend to get a little nervous about disclosing this information. At Infinity, we're pretty well equipped to help you with behavior management techniques, and we're pretty good at knowing where our limits are. But this information is really important so we can make sure that the best clinician is on your case, as well as develop some behavior management strategies that we can integrate into sessions right from the beginning. And then, of course, we're looking at music skills. So we want to know what that individual's favorite songs are, how they are musically, how do they respond, and then we want any other information that you are able to give us. So now, whether or not that you pursue an assessment after this consultation, that's totally up to you. We're here to give you the information. It's not a mandate, there's no pressure. But after the consultation, we will give you some basic recommendations and basic thoughts on what we might think might be the most beneficial for you or the individual that you're referring to services. So you have some information to either consider, talk about with maybe a second parent or guardian, or maybe for you to go look to get some funding. Now, once our consultation is done, if you decide to pursue services, we do have a number of intake forms. Now, we have different intake forms for pediatrics versus adults versus business to business, but all of them have roughly the same information in it. So today I'm going to go ahead and pull up our, pediatric intake. Let me share my screen with you again so you can see. So we do ask that if the individual coming into services has an IFSP, so that's through birth to 3, or an IEP through special education, any of those treatment plans from other therapists, behavior intervention plans, IPs, individual plans through DDS, or any case histories, that we get that as part of their intake. So again, we can most appropriately design sessions for you. So our intake documents, they go through general information like client's name, allergies, seizures, where we're providing our services, and then who is our scheduling contact. There are consents for treatment as well. And we go through what our personal health information and how we handle things at Infinity. So once you start services with us, an intake folder is created. We've used a double lock system as well as a HIPAA compliant cloud system to protect information. But this is where we store all of the session notes, assessment reports, other reports you give us, intake documents, and so on and so forth. We only release information to people that you consent for us to release information to. So we do have this as well as a second form should you get 6 months or so into treatment and have somebody else you want to add in. We have consents for observers within sessions. So if you have maybe an ABA therapist that wants to attend, we do have policies related to that. We love a team-based approach at Infinity. So we do welcome observers within sessions. We want to be able to prepare services so we're not interrupting the general flow of treatment. We have some consents for audiovisual and electronic releases to capture video, audio, and pictures for the purposes of therapy, educational, and then for marketing. We don't typically use our clients' information marketing, but we have on occasion when the news has contacted us and wanted some snippets to advocate for music therapy services. We have our attendance policy listed about what our expectations for cancellations, as well as the policies for termination and suspension. We really try to have a pretty comprehensive approach so you know through very transparent ways what you will and will not be billed for. And then caregiver supervision. We do have policies related to a caregiver remaining on site, but we do also have an additional form that is for permission to leave the premises that we will have a family fill out under certain circumstances if they're not going to be in attendance at sessions. There is billing and financial information of who and where invoices are being sent, as well as our credit card and auto pay program. There is an additional form that we have related to our auto pay program if you want to get involved in that. And we do believe in very transparent pricing. So all of our pricing is always in our intake forms in case you change the frequency and duration of your session during your time working with us. We have informed consent for telehealth services, as that is now one of our options that we offer. And then we have our privacy notice receipt, which there is a separate form for your privacy notice that you do receive. So once we have that information in hand, that is when we can go ahead and schedule your initial session with us. Our team meets every single Tuesday, and so any intake forms we've received during the week, we have slated to talk about during our Tuesday team meeting. That way we can refer you to an appropriate clinician who has the availability that you're looking for. We don't schedule sessions until we have received the intake forms, largely because we can't ethically continue sessions, or start sessions rather, without the consents to treat. And if we schedule that session, need to cancel, that appointment spot may no longer be there by the time that we get the forms in, as we do schedule on a first come, first served basis. Now, during our intake procedures, those initial assessment sessions, we do try to get between an hour and 90 minutes worth of work in, so that becomes 1 to about 3 clinical sessions before we're writing our assessment report. Now, most individuals getting music therapy will elect to continue services while the assessment report is being written, working on the general goals and objectives that we've talked about with you to be the core focus of treatment. Our reports take anywhere from a 2 to about 4 week turnaround depending upon the number of intakes we're doing at any one given time during the practice, because we do have a pretty intensive view period of those reports. The clinician working with you is going to write them, and a report for an individual typically is about 6 to 10 pages long, and it looks at the assessment throughout a number of different domain areas. That report goes over to a supervisor for approval, and then you would get a copy of it. That report's going to include recommendations for frequency and duration of services and goals and objectives to work in a treatment. But that plan is fluid. We want your input. Some families do what we recommend, some do less, and some do more. Some businesses have a set budget of what they're looking for, and while they'll take our recommendations into consideration, they already know what their bottom line is. And that's perfectly fine. We make our recommendations known, and we work with you to work within that budget or that time period that you are advising for the family member or facility that you're representing. About every 6 months, we do a goal review. You get a copy of that as well. And that's when we review all of our goals and objectives, document progress, and give recommendations for next steps. Right? If you have any questions, we do welcome them. I think we've been asked this about anything under the sun, and we believe in full transparency with how we deliver services as well as our rates for treatment. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. 860-518-5557 or Jona, Jona, @infinitymusictherapy.com.